Hi, welcome. That tastes really refreshing. You may have thought this is a tea bag advert. No. I've also got some Rolos. I've not had some Rolos for a long time. They've got Rolos used to be longer. I'm sure Rolos was that. Fucking hell, they have. I'm sure it might look big to you. Good evening, Andy Lomas. I'm sure Rolos were about that big. You know, that's quite small for fucking hell they are, aren't they? Can someone research that? How many Rolos you used to get to compared to? I don't know. Good evening, Tracy Nicklin. Good evening, Just Bob. I've got backstage waiting. We've got a guest tonight. Can you believe that? We've got somebody who can actually ask to be coming on. I can't speak properly. I've had an accident today. Some of you will be pleased to know that. I cut my foot open on the steel runner on the front door, and I had to go to A&E and sliced my foot. So some of you really will enjoy that. So I'll put that out there for you. I've only just put them fucking Rolos out the fridge and they're melting already. $19 people watching this shit. Did I say hello? Just Bob, Chris Nicklin, Mr. David Ellison, John Hayworth, Helen Maiden. Good evening. 19 people watching this shit. I'm going to have another Rolo. It's like a fucking gig, this. Jacob does stand up. So, you know, I'm like a comper that stood on stage, sat on stage eating Rolos and stuff. Let a few people come in from stragglers. I'll do 3 more minutes. No headband tonight. You can't live like a prick every night, can you? You know, you have to have a night off. Ian, can't beat the weed. You're welcome to jump on after Ian. I'm sure Jacob won't mind. Clint Brook, hello Clint Brook. Got 21 people watching this shit. Craig in the shed is with us again. Yeah, I've got a mouth full of ulcers as well. I think somebody's put some bad in it. Someone's put some bad juju on me today. You know, I need some sage to burn some sage. That's the Arnold Schwarzenegger documentary in the background again, if anybody's wondering. Yeah. You know what? Let's get Jacob on. He's backstage now. He's raring to go. So give a big warm why can't I speak anymore? Give a big warm welcome to the one and only Jacob Harmon, to this dying swan of a live stream. There you go. Yeah, thanks. Hello. That was a really shit introduction, but welcome, Jacob.
Thank you very much. Dying swan of an introduction.
This is a dying swan of a live stream, or a dying horse, or whatever animal you kind of choose to associate with.
Right. So the swan.
Sorry, mate. I was just Lord Rothschild's.
Royalty.
A big warm welcome to Sam Bankman-Friedman. I don't get that. Who's Sam Bankman-Friedman?
Maybe I look like him.
All right. Yeah. Early bars in Dick UK. What do you know, Jacob? Anything and nothing.
Oh, Sam Bankman-Friedman. He's the crypto king guy. I barely caught that news story. Yes, he ripped a bunch of rich people off.
Oh, what was it? What was his exchange called?
Oh yeah.
Gitto or something. I don't know. Can't remember.
But it was just one of those beautiful stories where, at the end of it, like a bunch of rich people look like fucking idiots.
But you know what? A lot of poor people got gypped as well.
Really?
Well, exchanges don't necessarily have just rich people. They have like you small FTX. That was it. They have small time, what's called a retail investor. What the big fat cats are constantly trying to shake out of the market by causing recessions.
Yeah, but I don't take any joy in that. But definitely, because the whole thing was just bullshit from start to finish, right? It's like who is that lady who invented the medical miracle in a box technology? Do you remember that one?
No.
That I've forgotten her name. But she was she basically sold a bunch of crap to investors, and she did a weird low voice while she was doing it, and they all bought it, and it was just crap from start to finish, and all the tech's working on it. Elizabeth Holmes, Theranos, that's it, David Ellison, yes.
And what did it? What was it? Was it like maybe a cure for things?
It was supposed to be a box that like you stuck your blood in it, and it just did all of the tests and will work out everything about you, and then they could deploy it in like, I don't know, Botswana or whatever, or the Gambia, and it would fix everything, and it was cheap and stuff. And like when the documentary is like, well, we kind of started working on this, and then we realized it just didn't even work a little bit, not even a little bit. It was like the blood was going everywhere, and apparently it's incredibly complicated, and really it would have just been better if it was a dude with hands who was doing it. Yeah.
The thing is, though, I mean, a lot of the rich people wouldn't feel the pinch, because at that level money doesn't exist, and money becomes just numbers on a screen, doesn't it? Well, the higher you go up, the more money doesn't exist, and it just becomes like an energy farm that they throw around, and just the more power you get, you can create and make numbers and just throw numbers around, and with fractional reserve lending, them numbers become more numbers when you come to another bank. And
it does get weird. Like what they mean about money is not what we mean about money. It's not like stuff to buy. Do you remember when Bill Gates gave all his money away?
No, I don't remember. I missed that day.
A few of them did it. They just went, we're giving all our money away. And what that meant was it was a tax scam. But in all the papers, it was like, oh, Bill Gates, look at how lovely he is for the people. He's giving all his money away. But all it meant was it was kind of being moved into some weird trust charity thing so that he could control more of the world. But I don't know.
Do you remember when a bank called the KLF burned £1 million?
I do remember the KLF. They were fucking weird.
I watched a documentary about them. Very interesting, really, kind of thing. Really fascinating. They did some good tracks back in the day, you know what I mean? But let me just say, we've got Zippy in, Ben's in. Hello, Ben, you say. JJ's in, Martin Redding's in. God, we're overloaded with jewelry tonight, kind of thing. It's almost like it's like a special Israel edition of. I'm just joking. Anybody from the ADL's watching.
Well, we need a Palestinian to kick shit out of. That's the.
Well, would we have to throw him out of the room? Or just block him? Is that what we'd have to do, kind of thing? So
yeah, absolutely. Checkpoints.
What's your plans for the year? I'm going to interview you if you don't mind.
Yeah, absolutely.
What you should have done, really. I was going to tell you today, but I forgot. If you've got any social media things, you could promote them tonight, kind of thing. If you've got anything going on social media.
I did it at Jacob C. Harmon. That's my Instagram. There's been fuck all on there for 6 months, but there's going to be some stuff there in the next few days. So,
would you like your personal Facebook, or would you rather just keep that private for like things?
I don't use my Facebook enough. Yeah. I think there's going to be something on there. I don't know, but basically, I like fucking everyone in this business now needs to be online, fucking constantly and promoting themselves, and makes my skin crawl. But
it's shit. But you, anybody try this, because I've done it. You vanish offline, and perhaps you're lucky if one person will get in touch with you to say, "Are you okay?" And everybody else, it's like you're dying. The sad thing is now, if you've not got an internet presence, basically you're nothing.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm interested. I'm interested in acting, performance, and comedy, so I need to do it, and so I'm going to start doing it. And one of the things that is, I did a whole bunch of shit last year, all different stuff. You had me do a couple of really great things. You had me go to Blackpool and read bingo. That was good. I like that.
and Kate was Kate one of the
Kate is definitely one of the things. Yeah, I find myself watching that and not hating every second that I'm on the screen. So that's good.
I feel quite hurt, because she said she was a bit funny with me afterwards. Last month actually, she had did I tell you about this?
No,
it was
last month.
It was Guy. It was Guy I told about this. And
is this the real Kate Beckinsale?
Yeah, the blue tick one. And she had this. She was saying something about Christmas. It's a time for such a thing. And she had this dress on with like small circular mirrors. And I was trying to be funny, and I said it's also a time for reflection, because obviously, and I got a curt reply back saying, I suggest you do the same. I think it's over between us, to be fair.
But you got a reply from Kate Beckinsale.
I've actually made a comment on a Halle Berry Facebook page, and I've been inundated with Halle Berry's telling me to go on Telegram and have a private message with her, but I've told it won't work between us. You know what I mean? There's too many walls of class culture,
yeah,
distance. You know what I mean? But yeah,
did she seem disappointed?
She's very persistent. She keeps coming back in different guises to kind of like tell me this. You know what I mean? Which is good. Are you still doing your acting in performance improv group?
I am in an improv group. I think something will come from that this year. I'm not doing Drunk Classics anymore. Drunk Classics is something that's in Manchester. It's on once a month. I'm taking a break from it, but I was doing it every month last year. And we take a classic text, sometimes not so classic text, and we set up like the main scenes from the text. So we did Jaws, right? So you need to have a scene where there's in the very beginning, there's two people on a beach and they get attacked by a shark, and then I don't know, then there's an old man who comes on and goes, "Oh, you not catch that shark," and etc., etc. And then we improvise it while getting drunk. And I was in that for a long time, but I'm not in that in the new year. It is fun. If you want to go and see it, it is a laugh. But then there's another thing. I'm going to start something this year, a new improv group. So
I'm sorry, I have to put the rest of these Rolos in the fridge because they've gone really soft. Bert, will be 2 seconds.
No problem. That shrinkflation, I looked it up while he was going. If everybody's noticed that crisps, there's less crisps now in your bag of crisps. I remember there was a word for it, and it's shrinkflation. It's how everything is getting shitter. It's one of the ways in which everything is getting shitter.
You are a very good speaker. I need to tell you that again. You're so good at speaking. It's you're an amazing orator. I'm just telling you that now. You're coming across. You come across so well. You by right. You let me just say, you by right should have a YouTube channel with like hundreds of thousands of followers.
He knows my confidence needs building up. That's why he's doing this.
No, actually, you are a very good speaker. You know what I mean? I saw potential in you.
He did, and he told me to come back to his chalet, and then I had to sit on his lap for a while. I don't know what that was about, but I got the gig.
So I have to say, SW Boxing, thank you very much for supporting, mate. Shout out to SW Boxing. No, you really need to get your shit together. I'm sorry, I can't tell you this.
He does this in private. Now he's going to do it in public. Get your shit together, Jacob. Unfuck yourself. What are you doing with your life?
No, I'm like some mother, aren't I? I'm like. Well, I think we need to do a follow-up to Kate that's not Kate. I mean,
yeah, that
kind of thing of that me and you, like a step, not like a, what I don't know, one of them kind of like two male. I don't, you know what I'm trying to say.
Well, that was the original thing. It was sort of like almost Morecambe and Wisey, but way more fucking depressing.
Morecambe and Wisey on crack.
Yeah. Well, we talked. It was like, you know, we both had our own dreams. They were just, the characters had their own dreams. They were just diametrically opposed to one another. So, and I hated you very much for being happy. Those were the two characters that we came up with, and then that's how we did Kate. Your character was kind of delusional and just delusional, I think. And my character was very slightly less delusional and really angry that you seem to be happy. I think that was it, pretty much.
Can I just congratulate her? I can't even speak. I can't fucking speak anymore. I'm really like going mentally. You're the first person to ever use the term diametrically opposed on this live stream, so I've got to congratulate you for that. You know what I mean?
It's like that.
It's a night of firsts. If you're just joining me, I'm with Jacob Harmon, playwright, comedian, raconteur, pro-Israel, stop oil, whatever.
No, go fuck yourself. I was scared to do this as well. I was actually more worried about it than I should have been. I did top 5 jokes about Israel Palestine that I would make if it was okay to make jokes about Israel Palestine. I did them at 2 open mics in Manchester, and yeah, they weren't pro-Israel. That's what I was worried about doing them.
Hello, Andrew Ashurst. By the way, Dave Llewellyn. Hello. I said hello to Martin Redding. Anyway, I need to ask you something regarding your acting group. We have a lad on here called Ian. His channel's called Can't Beat the Weed, but he's interested. He's in his 40s, and I'm asking on his behalf. He's not even. He said he's interested in getting involved in acting. What's your group? Do you have to be an experienced veteran of acting, or can someone who's not?
An experienced, it's improvising. That's what.
Yeah, but that would be the ideal kind of gateway. I don't know. Would you?
I think improvising is great for acting. I started by signing up to an improv class. So it was 10 weeks. It was 100 quid. I think prices have gone up a little bit, but it was comedy sports. But there's also places you can go that are just drop-ins for improv. But I like doing the course because it was focused. It was people trying to teach me, whereas the drop-ins you just kind of show up and.
Could you take him under your wing, or you think you've not got the time?
I think it'd be better for him to start by doing a course, just because what I've been working on is going to be a show this year. I think we'll see. We need to sort out the venue. We need to work out what we're going to charge. But yeah, so I think.
Ian, don't feel offended. He's knocked you back. He knocked me back. He wouldn't let me join his fucking club because I offend some fucking blue word.
It's not that. It's just that I don't know what it is, and I don't know. It's.
Thank you,
still
Dave
working
Llewellyn.
itself out.
Thank you, Dave Llewellyn. So shout out to Dave Llewellyn for supporting the live stream. It's fine. You know what I mean? You're doing your thing. I'd like to help you in any way I can. You know what I mean? But I see potential in you. Great potential. I've always seen it.
Thank you very much. I also love doing stand up. I mean, I did stand up with you, and you were fucking amazing. Has anybody here seen Jimmy stand up live?
Do you know what? I think I've only come of age. We had this discussion the other day, and I mentioned the Cat Williams podcast, what he did for like 2.5 hours. It's a new podcast, and that made me realize I'm not a proper comedian. I'm just a fucking bum. You know what I mean? And in the sense of I've been coasting, doing the same, not strictly totally the same, with a few minute changes over the years. I've been doing the same kind of act where he has like 12 specials and things. And I think I've just been playing at it. I think what I do is lack discipline, and I've been very lazy. I think I could have achieved so much more if I hadn't been so fucking lazy. And that's me being completely honest with myself. So what I don't know. I think Russell Brand, not Brand. I always get them confused.
Bland.
Russell Bland said something on the first vlog we did. We're journeymen. Me and I can only speak for. He said it himself, and I'll agree with it. We're kind of comedic journeymen where we'll just turn up somewhere and. But to be fair, I have come of age. No matter what level I am at comedy, I actually think I've come of age. Not when you saw me. I mean, that room has been a good room for me for learning.
Which one? The one in Blackpool or the one in?
It's a good room for learning because you have to work, and you saw where it was
because they're half dead.
Well,
they're all in the 70s.
Not only that, it's back heavy. The thickest band of audiences at the back of the room. You've got a smattering of people on each side, and you've got a big fucking dead space to fill. So as you know, if you stand on a stage and don't get in amongst them and things, and it's a very. I've agreed to do it again, but it's a very unpleasant. It's a very
unpleasant experience.
It's not. It's nice and it's not nice because it's like comedy can be so hard sometimes, and it's like if you've got people who are disrupting you all the time. It's exactly like a bricklayer building a wall, and some kid coming along that's pushing bricks off when he's doing it, and you're like, heckling's all right to a certain extent, but once it becomes disruption, there should be a venue should kind of step in and say, right, can you please be quiet, or are you leaving? And I've had it on many occasions because you can't work. You can't work with a persistent heckler, no matter what age they are. And I do lose my fucking temper. I do lose my temper with them. You know what I mean? I threw a pint all over. I remember, I'm not going to go on about it, but once one was doing it to me, so I took his pint out of his hand and poured it all over his head.
When was this? Was this recently?
No, it's a few years ago. But I did one in the Berkeley Square in Wigan. It was a fucking horrible gig, and there was this knobhead who obviously doesn't like me and things like that. And he was going on, and I was going back, and I was going on, and the gig became very uncomfortable. And it turned out the landlord wouldn't throw him out because he was a good customer. You know what I mean? So you're up against it's that all the time. You know yourself. There's some places where you do comedy, and you think, why the fuck have you put a comedian on here? Why? What's wrong with you? You know what I mean? Why waste your money? Why waste an audience's time? And why subject an act to this? What is this? This thing?
Well, I've been to some music open mics and done those, and I think it's a similar feeling because I don't consider myself a comedian. I'm an open micer. I'm very interested in comedy. I have stood up on stage maybe a couple 100 times and done stuff, but very rarely for money. And yeah, sometimes it is impossible, and is terrible and is awful, and you're terrible. But I mean, every gig like that is like it's another piece of training, isn't it? I mean, you know that.
The thing is, let me ask you an interesting question then. Well, what defines a comedian? You call yourself an open micer, which I think is a bit detrimental to yourself. What defines it? What is a comedian? What is a comedian?
It's just an arbitrary thing to make sure that people don't get the wrong idea. Like I'm not doing big halls or anything like that. I'm showing up to places where they have no reason, at least the first time I go, to stop me standing up and talking.
The thing is, though, it's like, do you really have to play the Albert Hall to be a comedian? I've made people laugh on buses, or in the chip shop, or like at the place of work, or anywhere where you can make people laugh. I think then you're a comedian. If you can do it fucking anywhere.
I think there is something about somebody who goes through life just looking for punchlines, looking to break something, right? There's something about comedy which is about breaking something. about breaking the norm, about breaking how people think. Like, I very quickly, in most conversations, if I'm relaxed, try and work out the thing that shouldn't be said and then try and find a way to say it.
And you know, isn't that looking too deep into it? Don't some people just want to make people laugh without having a great intellectual kind of mallet to bang down?
That doesn't need to be intellectual. Looking for things that people don't want to hear and then saying them. It's just, you know, that is a way of finding a laugh.
Not even that. Just somebody who wants to make people laugh without having to stir a pot or just to raise I don't know. You know.
Yes. I'm not saying the only way to be a comedian. I'm just like, if I have anything in my demeanor which is if there's something essential about being a comedian, that it's not about what you've done, then in myself that would be the thing that might mark me out as that thing.
You know,
there may be other ways, other things, other ways that people become comedians or think about comedy. But that's that. If I am a comedian, it's because I keep finding myself trying to say, as soon as there's something that's just under the surface, then I want to say it. You know, that if that's part of it, if that's a version of it, then that's it. Nobody needs to be, you're right, it is, because it's about laughter in the end. The only reason I ever became interested in this stuff, I guess, or was drawn to it, is because I love laughing. Laughing is the fucking best. Laughing is amazing. It's like it connects the mind to the body somehow. It's like, and it's weird too. Like, you can laugh against your will. That's a weird thing. Like, how many things does your body can end up, as you get older, your body can end up doing a lot of things against your will. But like, as a young kind of healthy person, right? You've got like sneezing, coughing, I don't know, there's a few things, and one of them is laughter. Like, everybody's been in the situation where you don't want to laugh, especially in front of authority. It's mixed up with authority. Like, I've got no answers, I've just got observations, right? It's mixed up with authority. Everybody's had the experience of being in front of a teacher or some other authority figure as a kid, and you know you don't want to laugh. You know it's worse if you laugh, and that makes you laugh more.
To me today, I was in the hospital. It's no joke. I was in the hospital waiting room, and I know this woman. A friend called Mel was in with one of the kids had broken a bone or something, and there was this like weird man in, and he was on talking about hospitals and mourning, and he said the best hospital he's ever been in was Stoke, and I said, what, Stoke Mandeville? What Jimmy Savile was in? And Mel just looked at this looked at this fella now. I was just like fucking pissing my sides. You know what I mean? Like, what?
Yeah.
Many times we go, when are you doing that?
Yeah. Oh, actually, I've got to be quiet because she's next door. But my daughter as well, recently, she's a teenager, and sometimes she's like, I feel bad, I shouldn't say this, but sometimes she's like absolutely in bits over something. It's nothing. It's absolutely nothing. And she's such pathos, you know, such deep pain about something didn't go her way. And I've really had to work very hard because she really doesn't like it when I start laughing at her. But yeah, exactly. That exact situation. There's lots of different ways to do it. It doesn't need to be in front of a teacher. Yeah, exactly. You reminded me there's lots of different ways to do it.
I've said this before. I remember coming home from I remember years ago, and I couldn't pull women in nightclubs. I say years ago. I just don't go to nightclubs now. And I used to come home crying, and I came home whimpering one night, and it's kind of like my dad says, "What's up with you?" And I said, "I've had enough of life," and he goes, "We're all in the same boat," and shut my bedroom door. You think about the things when you're younger, and
yeah, absolutely. I have some to give Anthony, yeah. Also, there's nervous laughter, of course. We all use laughter to cover things up, and also like there's different kinds of laughter. There's I mean, the one that I want from an audience, and the one that I love happening to me is the one that you can't stop. It's the one that, you know, if somebody paid you to stop, you couldn't. That's what I'm looking for. But there's a million different kinds of laughter. I do a lot of laughing. I mean, I'm sure if I watch this back, I'll see I do a lot. A lot of my laughter is just me agreeing. It's going, that's interesting, you know, keep talking. Because I'm just, it's more interesting than saying, you know, I don't know. It's part of my demeanor is giggling, I guess.
No, I just think it's like anything else. There's no way to define it, is there? You know what I mean? You could have somebody who's looking for the truth of man and the folly of man through comedy, and somebody who just wants to slap a custard fucking pie in someone's face. You know
yeah, but I mean? The truth of comedy is a custard pie to the face.
Yeah, that's profound, that, Jacob. Yeah,
you know.
No, I like that. I like that. What you said. It's
one of the big part. Like you can only sort of vaguely just. Nobody's going to come up with there's no formula for it. Thank fucking God, right? There's no formula for it. I mean, some of the jokes that you love, the anti-comedy that you love, is like so far beyond making sense that it doesn't. And the stuff that you've really loved I've never been on the telly. No. Notice the second that somebody asked that, I was in on that.
Hello, Haley Burt, as Jacob. Well, there was the court case, but apart from that, you've not done any comedy shows, have you?
No. CCTV, maybe.
There was no court case. It's just me being satirical. Satire. I don't fucking know what I do. But
Fast show's good. At the Fast Show.
Well, you really should be doing your own thing this year. Some kind of.
I'm gonna. Last year was really, really good for me. I mean, I think I spent a lot of time being kind of shy and introverted.
I look at this. This is fun. Martin Redmond has said you was on Schindler's List.
Was that on telly?
I just it was just obviously it's fucking anyway. These are the kind of people they're being quite. You're one of the best guests you've had on for a while.
Really? Jesus, your standards have to be fucking low.
No, but I'm not blowing smoke up your ass. You're such a good speaker, and you're so underutilized.
Thank you very much, Jimmy. Blowing smoke, keep blowing smoke up my
ass. Into everybody. Put a one in the
boys
chat.
And girls.
But into everybody. If you think Jacob's a good speaker, put a one in the chat now. Spin that wheel.
Oh, fuck off. Look, the last year was really good for me. I spent the year doing Drunk Classics. I mentioned it. It's a bunch of twatty improvisers get shit-faced and do Jaws. I directed one. I directed Dune, the science fiction book version, thing. And that was great. And one of the really, really good things about it. So one of the things you'll notice, if anybody here is interested in doing comedy, and it really is just stand up and talk. One of the things that makes it very difficult is you get very little time at the beginning for a lot of effort. So you get very, very little time on stage.
Would you be willing to let a newbie into your fold? Anybody who was interested?
Come along to open mics. The thing that I'm working on is it's just a small group, and we need to be on stage before I even am looking for new people. I think we've been working together trying to make something.
I've got an idea. You tell me to fuck off. Hello, Bordy. Good evening, Bordy.
I remember Tracy.
Why don't you start like a bit of a small acting class, like for like, you know what I mean?
I would very much like to do that, actually. I heard somewhere that for an actor, and this might be true for if you're interested in creating anything, it's good to be a student and a teacher. Like after a certain point, it's good to for your practice, whatever it is. And I think I heard this specifically about acting. It's good to be teaching and also studying. So yeah, I'll tell you something that I was in at the end of last year was something with Real MCR, REEL MCR. I'll write it here.
What's MCR?
MCR is Real Manchester. But I've been searching Real Manchester on Instagram and Instagram and Facebook. I couldn't find it. It's Real MCR.
Is that you? Is that what you what's put Real MCR in the chat?
Yeah, it's me.
I thought it was somebody trolling you, making
no. It's me. They are based in Blakely at the moment. They make films. If you want to search them on YouTube, they're interesting. It's like they're just a group that try to get young people, especially, but anyone, to make films. And they did a panto. And I would really like, they did a panto, a Blakely panto, which is, you know, it's my manor, it's where I live. And I was in it. I played, you can even find it on their website. You can see me being the evil posh cunt who lives on a hill. Can I say cunt?
You can say posh as well.
Okay, great. In the panto, I was the bad guy, and I had a lot of fun doing that. And
could you not get some kind of funding off them, kind of this real Manchester thing, and get a bit of it, so you can teach people who are on the dole and people down at Eel?
Exactly. I think that something like that would be really good. I think something like that. And if it happens, it'd happen in Blakely, I think. Something like that. But like getting that funding, those poor real Manchester bastards, to get funding is a lot of work. There's a job. Get this, I found this out recently. There's a whole job called a grant writer. It's like a whole thing. And even the guy that I'm studying martial arts with, because they're getting into trying to get referrals from the NHS for mental health and physical stuff, and also trying to get in stuff through the police. Like the first person that they'd pay would be a grant writer. It's literally somebody who sits down and does bureaucracy. They just fill in forms and apply. And there's a whole world of bullshit involved in that as well. It's a lot of the time it is a little bit about who you know, or they want to knock you back 2 times before they say yes, or you've got to use the magic words that they don't tell you what the magic words are, and it probably involves, you know, LGBTQs or something. So it's like a whole world of it, you know, whatever's fashionable.
There you go. What
to the middle class
is start a non-binary acting class that has a low carbon footprint.
Yeah, all right. And so that's the thing. So trying to get funding to do anything is a lot of jumping through hoops. But I would love to do something like that. And yeah, I think maybe next time I'm on here, if I'm I hope by the summer to be doing something like that. Yeah, teaching acting would be really good. I think I've, over the past 5 years, and also one of the ways that I got into this, I didn't do any acting or any performance from the time I was 16 or 17 until I was 40. My dad taught acting, and I went to a lot of his classes when I was a kid. So between the ages of, like, I don't know, 5 and 15, something like that. And then I wasn't interested in it.
No, but you end the day.
But yeah, and now I've been doing this. So I feel like I'm qualified to take complete beginners and say, look, you know, it's simpler than you think. Or is it simple? It's I've had some thoughts that may interest you, and here's some games to play that you might find give you some sense of what it would be to take this seriously.
Do you not think people who overcomplicate and
yes,
mystify acting are doing it for financial reasons?
Yeah, I guess they're scared that, because everybody.
I'll teach you how to act, but you know it'll take a lot of lessons to get in.
Yeah. No, I mean, yeah, exactly. So, but that's the same with anything that isn't, I don't know, It's the same with anything. It's the same with, I don't know. You ever been to therapy?
Quite a few times.
Yeah, keep coming. You're still sick. How do I know when I'm better? When your bank account's dry.
Well, I just think I'm really dubious now. I think acting's something you learn on the job. You know, I think is there much learning to it? I mean, I don't know.
Well, yes, I think that's absolutely right. I think acting is something you learn on the job. And earlier, I mean, I make half a point and then I get confused. But earlier I was saying one of the great things about that gig, Drunk Classics, and one of the problems with stand-up comedy, you're on stage for 5 or 10 minutes in the beginning, and you've got to travel for an hour minimum to get there and an hour back. So it's huge amounts of time for very little experience. And one of the great things about Drunk Classics is I was on stage for, if we had one performance, about an hour and a half. If we had 2 performances, about 3 hours every month. And that was huge. That so yeah, I think it made a massive difference to me. And you could, and there were also players who hadn't had a lot of experience. I could watch them change. So yeah, that's the biggest thing. Just doing it, just being there. That's absolutely true. And I think the goal of any lesson or whatever you'd call it, course, workshop, whatever the fuck, is to simulate that a bit. And it can, you know, if you manage to get 12 people right in a room and you have 3 of them do the scene, it's not exactly the same as performance, but it's still 9 people are watching you. Still, you have a problem to solve, right? And you know, like any workshop, maybe there's a small advantage in that people tell you what they think really afterwards. Hopefully, if the workshop's good, right? People actually say, you know, I like this, I didn't, you know. Whereas when you actually go up on stage, nobody's gonna tell you either. I don't know. Maybe it could be a more honest space. It's about making a good room where people are honest. It's one of the reasons, and that's exactly the same reason, by the way. So about 4 or 5 years ago, I did when I started this bit of my life, the last few years getting into performance, I did that 10-week course at Comedy Sports. I did one in improv and one in stand-up. And the stand-up one was great because it was very focused on writing. And there were like 8 of us, and each one of us would go up one at a time and do their stuff, and then we'd talk about it. And that was a great experience. And at the end, there's a there's a showcase where people see it. Okay. That's a great experience. But in the end, again, the same problem was you're only up for 10 minutes. You're only standing in front of people for 10 minutes at that. Whereas the improv part, you're up all the time. If you go and do improvisation, it's kind of group games, then occasionally scene work, but you're standing up and sitting down all the time playing. And that's really useful. So yeah, if anyone was interested in this, I definitely recommend doing some kind of course just to be in it, because it's like I don't know, it's like as methadone is to heroin, so workshops are to actual performance. A good workshop anyway, if that makes sense.
You know something? I actually taught stand-up for 2 days at Alra, this kind of acting school in Wigan, and I just blagged it. And all I did, it was £25 an hour. And fucking all I did was I said, right, you're gonna write some jokes, you got to get up there and tell them. And that's all I did with them. I just said, write something down what's funny, and you're going to be performing it in a bit. And I made them all in turn just get up and say something on stage, whether they liked it or not. And that's it, innit? You know,
Yeah.
It's getting, the thing is getting up there. Early doors with any performance, it's getting up there, innit? What's the thing? And then after that's plain sailing, you know. But
yeah, there is a lot of mysticism around the teaching stuff, especially with acting. You know, you hear about these fucking Hollywood bastards, you know, and you know, I don't know, the method and all that stuff. But you'd hope that you'd be able to watch them and say, have you thought about this? I don't know, for stand-up, I definitely wouldn't feel qualified to do a stand-up course. That would be
you know what? I mean, I'm a no mark in acting, and basically, but this is how I approach it, and it's not like Stanislavski and Meisner and this and that, and it's like a kid. If somebody says you're playing, if there's a big dressing up box there, you say to a kid, right, put a cowboy outfit on and be a cowboy. The kid will just put a cowboy outfit on and run around the garden and go pew pew pew, and that's how I approach it. It's just like, oh, what's this role? What's coming? Oh, I don't know, you're a solicitor. You know, put a white shirt on and be solicitory. You know what I mean, kind of thing. That's how I approach it, and there's all different ways of doing it. But I just try and become what it is. You know,
I'm always a bit. It's just very surprising. I mean, one of the things that I've stuck to this stuff is it's difficult to work out what the fuck. It's hard. It's like there is no math. So here's a story. So somebody said go up on stage. It was Drunk Classics, and we were rehearsing Jurassic Park. And if anybody remembers Jurassic Park, do you remember the slimy fat guy who nicks the dinosaur eggs and then
Lo-
he's going to sell them.
Lawrence Harvey. No, sorry, sorry, wrong film. Only joking. Yeah, sorry.
But the slimy guy. So I went up to do it, and all I had was right. Okay, so he's two things. One, he's hiding these eggs because he's stealing them because he's not being paid enough. That was one thing. And then the other thing was, but he has to lie and not say that. He has to just suck up at the same time. So on the one hand, he thinks he's better than the situation and he should be being paid more. And on the other hand, he thinks he has to pretend that he's very happy and into it. And so those are the only two things that I was thinking. And I felt like I went on stage and I just careened. Like it really felt like I had no subtlety at all. I was just at one point I was going, I don't know. I will do these eggs. Don't look at the eggs. The eggs are fine. Don't worry. You guys are great. So it felt really fake and it felt like unsubtle, completely unsubtle. Afterwards, people fucking loved it. So what was going on in my head?
Well, I've done that where you think you're doing shit and it's terrible, but other people say I like that. But that's weird how that doesn't translate, isn't it?
It's very
how they don't what your internal dialogue is saying, how that doesn't kind of translate to people. I'm sure there's loads of actors and performers who've done stuff on stage in the films. Liam saying, in a classic film where they go, fucking hell, I wish I'd have done that bit better. And everyone watches it going like, how did you do that? And he's probably thinking, that's fucking shit. The first take was better.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But
one of the
let me just say, how did you approach Kate when we did that? How did you approach that from a point of view? From your
fuck. I don't. Again, I think so. One, it was just you really need to bring Jimmy, and when I say Jimmy, I don't mean you. I mean the character, right?
Yeah.
Because I was called Jacob in it, and you were called Jimmy in it.
Yeah.
It's really important for me to bring Jimmy down, and that's it. That was the only. However, I can do it. I need him to know that he's wrong, and I'm right. And that was it. And then
status.
Sorry?
Your status thing.
Yeah, a little bit. I think status is very important. Yeah, it's very important for humans. I think status is very important for acting. Yeah. So yeah, we all develop little theories, and that's my one. I think status is really interesting.
Where did you get into status or read about it or learn about the status thing? Will you explain it to a few of these reprobates who were watching?
I will give it. Is that a review of me, by the way, Lost at Sea, solicitory?
No, it's when I said when I said I was playing a solicitor, I'd put on a white shirt and become solicitor.
Oh yes, that's right, and that was a great. Yeah, exactly. That is very. So status is. So again, I studied acting when I was very young, and I remembered that. I remembered that in the classes that it's not complicated. There's not a lot of. What it is it's a lot of simple things at the same time. So when my dad taught, he would teach, because you're improvising, you don't have a set or props. So you don't get to have a can of beer. You've got to pretend to have a can of beer. So we'd work on that. And I remember, and we did status, which is just who's the boss in the situation, what's the pecking order, kind of thing. And I remember that, and that was when I was a kid. And I remember doing a lot of it with my dad, a lot of status. But again, I was young. I didn't remember a lot about it, but I knew we did a lot of it. Then when I did the course with comedy sports, they had 10 weeks comedy sports. No, yeah, I understand. I think, I understand why you might not like them. But in the 10 weeks, they had one of the 10 weeks had status in it. And like, as we were doing it, it was really interesting to me. I found it really revealing about people, something about it really, and it might be because it was implanted to me as a kid. But then I read a book about improv by a guy called Keith Johnstone, and Keith Johnstone is the British 1960s inventor of improvisation. Like, improvisational theater came through Keith Johnstone, and in his book, the first chapter is about him, and then the second chapter, and it's most of the book, is certainly the biggest chapter, is just about status and what he found out about status. And I read that, and that was interesting. That really turned me on to that. So here's the Keith Johnstone story. I hope this isn't fucking tedious for everyone.
You've got all these people in the palm of your hand.
You reckon? They're not talking. They're not. I keep waiting for them to. Anyway,
they don't. They're listening. They're a bit backward. My audience is a bit retarded. Mostly morons. Apart from the people that donate money to the fucking
geniuses. Those people, they know what's what.
People who donate to the channel are my special friends, and I love
special
them.
buds.
The rest of them, fuck them.
Yeah. It doesn't need to, it's just, give him money if you like what he does. The story in the book, so he went to see a performance of The Cherry Orchard, right? That's Chekhov. That's like, and one of the things, Stanislavski, that's where the method supposedly came from. And so he said he was watching this performance of The Cherry Orchard, and he could see every actor had spent ages thinking about the deepest possible motivation, right? That's the word, motivation for what they were doing. So he walked to the window because he's thinking about his dead mother, and then he went over to the bookshelf because he desired knowledge in his heart of hearts, right? You know, some shit like that. And he was watching this. This is just fake. This is
Guy Pearson. Guy Pearson said, "I came here for Jacob's crackers. Yeah, he's still got his pants on. What a J." Hello, guys. Do you want to jump on? You don't have to put your camera on. I know you're a bit like.
It'd be good to get Guy. Guy's great.
Please come on, Guy. I won't throw the link out. I'm only letting certain people on though if any balloon heads want to come on.
But the thought that he had is, rather than the most important, like grandest motivations, instead the smallest, twattiest, least important motivation. And that's when he started thinking about status seriously. And because he'd been struggling with the class that he'd been teaching at the Royal Court or something like that. And he went back and he said, no. In every situation, you're just trying to look good and make other people look bad. That's, you know, in every situation, you're just trying to maintain your alpha status a little bit, right? And that's what people do. And sometimes it is a little bit more complicated than this, but that's what people are aware of a lot of the time. And he says things like, if somebody takes a photograph, if you see a photograph of somebody, you know the difference between if they know they're being photographed and they don't know they're being photographed. And he said that this difference is when people know that they're being photographed, they guard their status. So they instantly become very neutral, or they suddenly kind of super mug. But when you see people being photographed without knowing they're being photographed, you get to see their kind of stupid maneuverings for status, you know. And also, everybody doesn't need to be going for high status, but everybody wants to try and find a comfortable position in a hierarchy. That's if a hierarchy is in motion, that's spooky. Everybody wants to kind of find a place. So another thing he said, again, I've read about it a lot and I'm not explaining it very well. Another thing he said is, if you're in a park and you're feeding ducks, right? And two of the ducks start having a fight and then one of them wins. You notice that. Okay. You notice that. You go, that's the boss duck. But what you don't notice is all the time that they're not fighting, all the ducks have kind of relationships with each other without fighting. So they're all, you know, it's all done through body language and movement and the relationships. Like, you won't notice it, but when the big duck, the boss duck, moves forward, another duck kind of just turns away a little bit. And that is a real key to human behavior. And I I think it might be wrong. I don't know, but like that's what I'm interested in. So yeah, when I did Kate with you, I was very much that was part of what I was thinking was Jimmy's too fucking comfortable. He's too happy. I'm better than him. I know I'm better than him. I have a posh accent. He's working class. He needs to know. He needs to fucking know that I'm better than him. And whatever it takes, I'm going to, And so that was definitely a part of what I was thinking. Because I do think, another thing is I've watched film thinking about this. You watch films and what good actors do, and one of the things a lot of the time that especially action heroes is that they're always winning in the room. They're always action heroes, especially. It doesn't matter to them. They're above it all. They win and they win and they win and they win. And comedians often take a position that's a lot of the time they're low status, but they don't know it.
Do you think some play low status to fool the audience? I've done that quite a few. I used to do that in my deadpan act, just pretending to be such a buffoon.
I think to a certain extent you can't play high status with an audience. If you high status an audience, you're only doing it because they know you're an idiot, kind of thing. I don't know. Like, it's all a work in progress. I'm trying to understand it, and this might be a model that's not. Maybe there's a better version of this, or maybe it's just a stage. Whatever. It's not a total theory of everything, but I do think that there's something about. You have to be low status as a comedian, maybe on some level, and okay with it. You can't just be like, I've gone up and people thought that I was having a breakdown, and that's low status. But if you're really having that breakdown, people don't like that. That's uncomfortable. That's like, oh Jesus, is there something wrong with him? That feels too real. So it's like a kind of, I'm okay, but I'm a cunt, like it's I don't know, but I think status is important in there somehow. And I think when we get tired of comedians, when comedians start being less interesting, like Dave Chappelle's interesting. He was very happy to play low status towards the beginning of his career in Chappelle's show. There's some stuff where he's very confidently just plays clown. I mean, that's clown. It's like there's some great sketches that he's done. Whereas now he's now less willing to play in that space, I think. And I don't know.
You did a clown course, didn't you?
I did, and that was important as well. Yeah.
So
for me,
the history of from what you explained to me, the history of the clown is very, very dark.
There's some fucked up shit back there, yeah.
So was clownism from Italy, did you say?
I think clown. Okay, so I got taught. Oh God, I'm not gonna remember the names.
I'm not making a brew. I'm just getting some pop.
No, yeah, sure. Is there like a commercial break or anything? I need a whiz.
Go for smoke.
Yeah, can I? And that as well. That would be
go
great.
for a smoke, and I'll just do all the thought for a minute.
I'll come back. I'm just maintain. It's like radio. You've got to keep.
No worries.
Shit going, right? I can stop talking anytime.
Hi. Yes, I'm joined by Jacob, who's gone outside for a smoke. Are you all well? I'm not making a brew. I'm on a dry throat. I thought I'd rot myself. I thought I'd rot my teeth and give myself diabetes at the same time. And this Coke's gone flat. Should you be drinking Coke at bedtime? I don't care. And I'm having Rolos as well. Hi everybody, it's 1 hour into the new to the channel. Great chat, Jimmy. Are you still doing music? Hello, Soul of One. Welcome aboard. Not much music, to be fair. I have started playing my guitar again, just for fun reasons. It's over there. I was trying to learn Blue Oyster Cult. Don't Fear the Reaper. I just try and I pick it up and try to learn a song and then go on to the next song, and no consistency with me. But welcome to the channel, Soul of One. It's always nice to have new members aboard. We've got Jacob tonight. Are you all enjoying Jacob's chat? Is it just let me know? Vocalize yourselves if you want to. You don't have to. I'm not forcing you. Jimmy eats pot noodles as well. Not anymore, I don't, I'll tell you why I don't. Because you never think about this, really. But not only is pot noodle just dried chemicals, when you put boiling hot water against plastic, it leaches a chemical called BPA into the plastic. So not only are you eating dried chemical shit, pot noodles, you're getting an additional soup of plastic, because the water, hot water on plastic, leaches out the BPA. Nobody thinks about that. Plastic kettles, fuck them off. Just saying. Is that Stephen Love, Dr. Finch, by the way? Beef and tomato and hot plastic. I never used to drink Coke, me. It's not too bad, board. It's going to be sore walking about on it, but thank you. It's one of them things. The universe sends us tests. Could be pain. Could be cycling proficiency. Hello, Michael. Michael, did you learn that? What have I done? I've just cut my foot a bit. Mike, did you learn that Kiss song, Beth? Beth, are you calling? I want us to cover it. Bottled water has thousands of microplastics in it. Is it a hard song to play, Mike?
Dead air.
Oh, Jay, I like the carrier bags on your door. Very practical.
Yeah. The ones I put paper in, the other one I put because I'm a good middle class lad. Clowning.
One take. Let me just say. Thank you, Michael. We'll sort it out soon. Anyway, everybody, we're talking about. I want to talk about clowning and clownism. If there's such a word with Jacob, and the origins of clowning.
Yeah. Well, origins, I don't know. I did find out. I found out some stuff about clown after doing the course. One of the parts of clown, it's like if anything is more brutal than stand-up comedy, it's clowning. I think it started. So the clown as we know it started in Europe in circuses. they used to have, there's a lot of equipment with circuses, right? So they've got to set it all up for the important people to do the high wire and all that stuff. And while they're taking stuff down and putting stuff up, there's dead air. There's just nothing going on. So it was, yeah, exactly. So they're like, you, dickhead, go out there and be good and keep them interested. And one of the things about circuses in Europe at the time is that they travel, so they couldn't use words, because they'd be in Italy, they'd be in Spain, they'd be going hither and thither. People wouldn't necessarily speak the language. Also, when at the very beginning, there was sort of more language barriers. You might, because now we've got nation states, right? So French is French, but you go back there and you might be on one side of France and they speak a dialect, which on the other side of France, they wouldn't easily understand. So they had to do it without words, which is, it's a hard thing to do. Anyway, there's the clowning course that I did was brutal, really brutal in a way. It started with like 30 people, and I think after 3 weeks there were like 9 people left. They had exercises like everybody takes off one sock. Okay, all the audience takes off one sock. Then one of you goes up front, and when people get bored, they slowly raise their hands with their socks. And when their hand, like the more bored they are, the higher the hand goes. And when they all get their hands in the air, they all throw their socks at you and you're done. And you get instructions like, okay, go on stage, keep us entertained. You're only allowed to bark like a dog, go. And it was interesting. It was really brutal, but it was interesting.
It seems like stuff they do at these children's homes in the 70s.
I think it's got elements of abusiveness in there, yeah. If we're talking about kids' homes in the 70s, I think abusiveness goes with the territory.
Take your clothes off and bark like a monkey for Uncle Jim.
Yeah. But one of the things that I did see is people would get desperate, and there would often be a moment. So everybody's raising their hands. They'd be more and more desperate, more and more desperate. And at some point, I watched this happen 2 or 3 times. People would go, oh, Jesus. Like they tried everything and they'd lose the will.
It could have been, if you'd worked on that a bit more, it would be quite funny. Dave, if you'd have said, I was on the way to a clown course and the doors fell off my car, I think that would have been, I don't know.
That's right, but I don't know, something about custard pies. But when they reach this kind of point of total desperation and almost like, oh, kind of giving up, that everybody would go like this. Oh, that's interesting. So there's something about suffering in there. But here's the story you probably remember.
Yeah, I'm listening to you. I'm just going to throw some rubbish at Ben.
They were telling me about the story of Buffon, which is a particular kind of clowning that is satirical, I think, or something, or more aggressively unpleasant than most forms of clowning. And the story was this, and also one of the things that he told me, and he learned this in France, this bloke, the Performers Playground, I think it's called. It's but he learned this in France from, like, because you can travel to France, you can study with a proper French clown, you know. And the story about Buffon that he heard was that people in Christian Europe, they all of the fucking idiots and the perverts and the retards and all of those people would be cast out, right? They were unchristian, and the nice Christian pious people would worship at the church. But one day per year, they'd allow. He told me this might not be true; it might be made up, but it's trying to capture the spirit of this thing of Buffon, which. One day a year, they'd allow all of the deformed, the sluts, the not rights, all of the not rights. They'd let them back into the church for one day a year, and they'd all
basically this audience, what's watching tonight.
Yes, exactly. Your audience. They let them all into the church, and they would just do disgusting things every time. They'd just do foul and disgusting. They'd be wank all over the vestments, you know, in the place where the lads, you know, the altar boys sort themselves out. They'd be shit on the altar. They'd just be awful. And then all the people would nod to each other and go, yeah, right. This is why those people are how they are. and it's why we are with that. And we're happy we keep them out.
One take. Rich, yeah, I'm not letting anyone on tonight. I'm just letting Jacob have the floor. So no disrespect to anyone else. Hello, Steve Beatty, by the way. I'm not allowing it. We're just chatting with Jacob tonight.
Surely
Yeah,
after this
special.
clown bullshit. Surely after this clown bullshit, you can get some.
No disrespect to anybody, but it's just Jacob's gig tonight. So basically, what was it called again? This
Buffon. But I'm not. So, but because for the churchgoers, the parishioners, the good people, there were messages there. So, for example, the reason why there was a bunch of fucking semen spread all over the altar boys' vestments is because the fucking the vicar was fiddling with kids, right? And the reason that there was shit on the altar was because, you know, these people weren't keeping the message of Christ by casting all these people out. They were worshipping dung, right? That and that was supposed to be saying something about Buffon, something. And I think that there's something in there about comedy. Comedy should.
I don't know, a stiff letter, man, to the clergy. A stiff letter to the clergy might have just been a bit more subtler than wank on some cloths, altar boys things, and shitting on altars and stuff. But you know, it's very interesting. It's a fascinating story because clowns are really dark. A lot of people are scared of clowns, and I suppose
exactly.
I suppose from like we talk about Carl Jung and the collective unconscious and like this stuff what we've inherited from in our DNAs, but you know. All these archetypes, and so it's interesting where the scary archetype of the clown has come from. Like, and it might be just a travelled in our DNA how fucking scary they were. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I think so. There's a great play for today from the 70s, or might have been early 80s, called The Comedians, I think it's called, and it's on YouTube. And in there they talk about clowning towards the end. I really like that, and it's about. In it, there's somebody trying to teach stand-up, and he's trying to teach the people who do stand-up to do challenging comedy, to do expensive comedy, not cheap comedy, to do whatever that means. So rather than kind of relying on cheap stereotypes to try and.
Oh, like I said, hey mate, you're really fat, aren't you?
Yeah, exactly.
My act, basically.
To try and get something underneath, but no, it's not as simple as that. It's not as straightforward as that, I don't think. But I think that there's some connection between laughter and truth, some sort of connection.
There should be, shouldn't there?
There should.
Exactly. the history of the court jester was one of it's quite a powerful position, wasn't it? Because you could actually like buffoon the king and lampoon for the court, or there would be elements of truth behind the humor.
Exactly.
The satire.
And in the tarot cards, right? Because whenever you say archetypes, for some reason my brain always goes tarot cards and Jung. I always connect that with tarot cards for some reason. But the fool in that is like someone who flips the world somehow. Again, I think,
Like I once read a book on Neris D about playing cards, and the original use of playing cards was for divination. They were like a form of tarot cards because everything. There's 52 weeks in a year. There's 52 cards in a deck. There's 4 seasons. There's 4 suits in cards, and cards was used as a form of divination for telling the future, but it was outlawed, so it became used for playing games with. But the fool it represents all and nothing, and it's quite a very the psychology of the fool. It's kind of a very deep, but it's probably the most powerful card in the pack. You know what I mean? It was very.
Jokers are wild.
But you know what I mean. But it's always I always kind of not so much now, to be fair, but I was always obsessed with the Jokers when I was younger, and
the Wigan Joker, yeah.
You know, but it not as much now. Now it's just a kind of a name kind of thing. You know, I've kind of gone beyond it. but I was very fascinated by it all. You know, Webster's in, your gas is free, and so are your clowns. Yeah, but yeah, it's all very fascinating, Jacob. That it's good to have you to. We have Martin Redding, who's like a pseudo alcoholic intellectual. Martin Redding's like a intellectual, but then you're like next level. You make Martin Redding look like a moron.
I put the pseudo into pseudo intellectual.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, if I could connect the Joker with status, it would be the Joker walks into the room and doesn't recognize the king, doesn't recognize any difference between all the people, that they're all the same to them. They don't understand. It's a kind of stupidity, but also it's a kind of, you know, blowing through the bullshit.
Perhaps we should do a short film about the psychology of the Joker. And just have Martin Redding stood with a yellow balloon, like make it.
Why are you so mean to Martin Redding?
I don't mean it. I just like baiting him till he threatens me with violence.
But does he do that?
Yeah, he threatens me with violence sometimes. If I lived closer, he'd beat me up. You know.
He did. Yeah, I saw him in a cupboard the other day, reading
What did you think? It wasn't a bad performance, that.
That was great. I was riveted.
I'm waiting for your version.
That's right. I will do my version.
That's on your list with world domination and mowing the garden.
Yeah, exactly. It's a list of do Jimmy's poem, dominate the world,
mow the garden.
I really don't think I'm going to get around to mowing the garden though.
Put some more stuff in the carrier bags on the door handle till it falls off like a plunk. A buckaroo.
That's that's right. Wank so prodigiously that it overflows.
Go and wank in a church and shit on an altar.
It's what we need, though, isn't it? We need more wanking in church. This place has gone mad. Has anybody noticed? It's gone wonky. Now is the time for jokers. I don't think,
you know, this is the world we live in, though. I think people would get over people wanking in a church. If somebody wanked in a mosque, the people would lose their minds, wouldn't they?
Oh no, a synagogue. You can't wank in a synagogue.
That would be a completely different kind of vibe, wouldn't it? Kind of thing.
Right, yeah, because Christianity is not a protected species in this country. I can understand people being annoyed about that.
Yeah, I get it. I get it.
But like fuck the church, right? Christianity, sure, but like fuck the church. Church is all of that stuff. You know, owning all the land and bossing people around. Like, but the message of the Bible, I think, is got some merit, right?
I always mention this quite a lot. And did you know? A lot of the churches were built. So you look at Dave Ellison's. It's quite funny, Dave Ellison.
Yeah. You can't wank in a synagogue would be a good biography title.
It says like Woody Allen's biography, that, doesn't it? But yeah, most of the churches were built by the Tartarian Empire. And
the what empire?
Tartarian Empire. What's been erased from history.
Shit.
And a lot of the churches were built with sacred geometry, and they weren't built for religious purposes. They were built as healing centers because of the frequencies they emit. Everything in a church, from the frequency of the organ emits to the stained glass windows and to how it's laid out, was designed for healing. Because the Tartarians could do
Tartars. I've heard of Tartars, right? Is that the Tartarians? Is that the same thing?
I think so. And like I'm not sure if they invented tartar sauce for a fucking fish, but you know, a lot of the most beautiful
and steak tartare.
A lot of the most beautiful, intricate buildings of antiquity were kind of built by the Tartarian Empire. I'm not an expert on it. I wish I was. I'd love to speak to somebody who knows more about it, but I think churches were just later hijacked for purposes of religion.
I think that's the way of everything. Everything starts as a good idea from the bottom up, and then it gets owned by cunts, and then it gets fucked over.
I mean, for example, the punk movement of the 70s started on the streets, but as soon as the Sex Pistols signed to EMI, you know then they thought, we can use this for divide and conquer. You know, we can use this as another kind of tool to alienate people. You know what I mean? But everything, like I said, everything starts with good intention, and then when people see, when the cunts in suits see they can use it for something and make money at the same time, they always go on it, don't they? You know?
There have been cunts in suits since time immemorial. I mean, maybe not always, but
then back in the day, there'd be cunts in fancy robes.
Yeah, exactly.
That kind of thing.
Exactly.
You know,
saying vaguely plausible shit that makes you shut up and go away and stop bothering them while they.
So we see if Martin Redden will come out of his cupboard.
Yeah.
Martin, I wish I'd like a special kind of flute for like summon him. You know what I mean, kind of thing. But I don't know if he's watching or not. Martin Redding, are you in the area? Probably not.
I know, and somebody brought up Islam. There you go. The posh geezer probably respects Islam, though. Like Islam, I tell you what, you look at the Sufis. Apparently, 200 odd years ago, all of Islam was basically Sufi Islam. You had the Ottoman Empire. And it was a much more kind of low-key philosophical thing. There's a great Sufi mystic that I found out about from the 10th century, 11th century. He maybe was real, maybe wasn't. But his stories are told and told and told again throughout large sections of the world, even outside of Islam. But he was a Sufi mystic. And basically, they're religious parables, but they're in the form of jokes. I don't know.
And you said was that one of the oldest jokes was about the Sufis?
Well, no. I don't. I mean, I'm sure people have been making jokes since before we wrote stuff down.
I know one of the apparently they found it in ancient Egypt. The oldest joke was about a woman farting on a man's lap or something. What they found on the wall, which is kind of like the base humor what's still on this channel today.
Absolutely. When I was wasting time not doing the shit that I needed to do, I was watching, because I'm a middle-class ponce, I was watching stuff about a Sumerian satire, right? Sumeria, this is like 3000 BC.
The Anunnaki was Sumerian, weren't they? Allegedly.
The which?
The Anunnaki, the fallen angels, the hybrids, the sons of God.
Right. Well, I know that it's older than the Bible, or it's like the place where the Jews came from, practically, something like that. But anyway, there was a couple stories. Let's see if I can find this. Oh yeah, there's a couple like parables. They're written down by scribes. They were like kind of legal thought experiments. So there's the main canon. Mostly what scribes are doing in ancient Sumeria is on clay fucking tablets with bits of stick. They're recording the law, so they're copying out laws, and sometimes they make judgments. But on the kind of edge of things, they'd have like thought games that they play, like silly situations and try and resolve it with law. Anyway, there's this one about an old man who marries a young girl, and then and he's a lecherous old prick, and he asks her to marry him in apparently the unapproved way, but she agrees because she's a greedy young bitch, right? So everybody in this story is fucked up. Anyway, she goes to the king, and he can't get it up. I want you to annul this marriage. And the king gets the guy in to say, so what's going on? And he does this speech, about being too old. My youth has rushed past my thighs like a fleeing donkey.
I know that one. Anyway, carry on.
My former black mountain has sprouted white gypsum, which I think is about his pubic hair. I think. And this is just, I'm just going to say this. I'm not going to try and interpret it because I love it. My mongoose, which used to eat pungent things, does not even stretch its neck to the jar with clarified butter.
I couldn't put it better myself, really.
Exactly.
I might use this for the when I go to the doctor, like for some Viagra.
Exactly. Right. It's the same shit again and again and again. Poor bastards struggling with the, well, it's not always the same, but certainly getting old and and having a cock. Those two things.
John Bengal, speaking of cocks, good evening to John Bengal. He said good evening to Jacob too. I'm only joking, John, because you look quite tough and you like a bit of a fighter. So good evening, John Bengal. John Bengal. I looked at one of your videos, John, and you have a catchphrase I'd like to use: Bengal winner. Chicken dinner, Bengal winner. No, but back to Samaria and flaccid hoses. That was a very good. Powerful kind of statement. Where did you find this stuff? Where did you find this?
That was just me fucking wasting time, and because I have for a long time I've been interested in like where people what was the beginning of things. What was the beginning of things, right? I got interested in Rome, especially as a kid, like Greek and Roman.
Speaking of which, I've still got your books here. What I've still got the books here. What you lent me.
I lent you a book. What did I lent you?
Ancient Greek and something else. So you lent me some books one time. I didn't steal them from your house. So.
All right. I don't know. I don't remember what they were. Let me know. Let me know. Maybe they were interesting.
I will. But yeah, we normally do about an hour and a half, so we've got about 4 minutes left. Has anybody any questions for Mr. Jacob? Are you enjoying Jacob? I would like to get him back on. I do think Jacob needs to start his own channel and do some good stuff.
Well, if you come and follow me on, if I can do some shameless self-promotion.
Throw something in the comment section, and then I'll put it on screen what people can get you at.
Okay. Well, here is probably good. Instagram's probably a good place. There we go. And yeah, I haven't put anything in there for a while.
I take it you're a Twitter person.
No.
Have you fucked it? Did you fuck it off when Elon Musk joined it?
No, I don't have I tried to do Twitter for a bit. I used it. I followed journalists that I liked. And then I started saying things, and I realized that I was just trying to be a clever cunt and trying to out clever cunt everyone else. And it got like, I could see it was addictive, but pointless.
Yeah, I don't bother. I actually started a Twitter the other day. I mean, I deleted my Twitter where I used to have, but I just can't. I can't be. You can have that many social media channels that you basically. I've got enough with Instagram, Facebook.
Yeah, exactly.
This, you know what I mean?
I think you've got to turn them into games that you just play and you make your own rules. I think honestly, I think what I was trying to say a little bit about acting is sometimes if you're playing a game in your head and you're really just focusing on the game, it takes you out of, trying to be good. And then that might be useful. I think it might be the same for social media. Just invent your game. Like I fucking guarantee I'm going to put up a photo that I took every, twice a week or something.
You know what? I don't know.
Or write a joke for Twitter, once a week.
Yeah, it's wanky, right? Isn't it? But
no, but
all these things distract us from ourselves, and this is fuck all to do with the price of fish or what. I tried this the other day. I got up one morning when it was really dark, and I sat with myself and my own thoughts for a while.
Oh, Jesus.
And it's quite. It's all right after a bit, like when you lie in bed at night and you're just thinking. And it's different when you're with someone. But you're in bed on your own and you just lie there thinking in the dark. It can be quite kind of overwhelming, the weight of your own thoughts and stuff. But what I'm trying to say is, all these things, Twitter, Instagram, blah blah blah, they take you away from yourself, and so you're concentrating on bullshit or
yeah.
You can throw your hate, you can project your hate onto something, or you whatever. But I don't know. I don't have a point. What the fuck am I about, Jacob?
No, but it's. I'm addicted to YouTube. I'm definitely like if I try and look at how many hours I watch YouTube, it's not good in terms of productivity. I watch chung, 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 and sometimes I push it away, and it always works its way back. And some of it's good, but most of it is just trying to stop thinking, right? To stop. I don't know.
It's a hard thing to do, isn't it? You know what I mean? A creative mind is it's a blessing and a curse, isn't it? You know what I mean?
I'm imagining that anybody's here probably who has a pretty creative mind. I think it's right. Not everybody is necessarily has the kind of brain that just goes and goes and goes and goes. But if people are willing to listen to this shit, I imagine your audience is kind of like that. It's just they're sitting there going, you know, what rhymes with orange, lorange, florange? Who invented bow ties? You know,
I was said these lot are just now thinking about wanking in churches.
It's a pretty good image, isn't it?
There'll be a spike tomorrow and people going into vestries and mauling with themselves in them. You know what I mean?
If you live stream it, I'll watch it.
TikTok's your place for that, really. I'm sure there's some fucking fat cunt in a nappy who's shitting in the church. He'll get 7 million followers while we just struggle with a few thousand. And some big fat cunt just goes in a church shits in an altar. He'll get 8 million followers. That's the world.
Look, a few thousand is the start, right? I'm gonna make sure that I put on Instagram all the shit that I was doing last year. I'm gonna do that over the next few days, and then I don't know what. Then I need to be doing stand up. I need to be doing stand up. Those real MCR people are very cool. I would like to, if I come back here later on, I hope. Well, I'm sure I'll come back before that, but like, I hope I'd be able to offer people to come and learn acting somewhere for free. That would be really cool.
But you know what? I just think you're very talented. You need to put yourself out there more. You've got a lot to offer. It's always a pleasure to converse with you because you're very concise, clear, and articulate. But everybody want to follow Jacob. He's on Instagram. Have you put your link up?
I have.
He's on Instagram and stuff. So Instagram's the main thing. We're going to go. Everybody's falling out in the chat room about free gas and stuff, which you shouldn't. Just play nice, everybody. Jacob Herman, thank you very much for joining me tonight.
Thanks very much for having us. And I mean, you were a great talent. I mean, people don't necessarily know. You know, you're an actor yourself. You're an actor yourself. You're not just.
Well, I have the boards with Larry. But thank you very much, Jacob. You're too kind, and hopefully I'll be seeing you soon. Yeah, thank you to Dave Llewellyn and SW Boxing for donating to the channel tonight. Thank you to everybody who's took the time to comment. Like, share, and subscribe, everybody. If you want to smash the like button for this video, you can do it. Cost you fuck all. But yeah, Jacob, thank you very much for joining me.
Thanks for having me.
I'm not sure if I'll be doing one for a few nights now, everybody. But I'll be seeing you soon anyway. But thank you very much, Jacob. Thank you, everybody. You can donate if you want to. There's a link somewhere, and smash the like button, subscribe. I'm going to bed now. Good night. God bless.
Night all.